Aloha colleagues, this is Dr. Gibson. Welcome to OC 6005, Scope and Methods of Research. The title of this presentation is Research Questions in Literature. This week in OC 6005, we are going to have a discussion on research questions, what makes a good research question versus a bad one, as well as a checklist to go through when you are working on developing your research questions. Next, there is another video presentation that goes over literature reviews. It is a long video, but it does provide a general overview of what literature reviews are, poorly written ones versus a well-constructed lit review. It also presents a three-step process for searching the literature and making sense of research articles. And it shows you some systematic ways to help make that process a little bit easier. And then at the end of that presentation, there is an experiential exercise that will help students learn the art of synthesizing the research that you read about. We are also going to be reading about action research. There is another video or two that are posted on our Blackboard page that you need to watch, as well as making sure that you're keeping up with all the assigned readings. We do have a lot of additional readings in this course, and unfortunately those can begin to pile up if you don't stay on top of them. So I'd like to begin by addressing what a research question actually is. We know from the literature that a research question is the fundamental core of a research project. It focuses the study, it helps determine the methodology, and guides all the stages of your inquiry, analysis, and reporting. So the emphasis is on generating a unique question and then synthesizing diverse sources into a coherent essay that supports your argument. So in other words, you're integrating information from publications with your own thoughts in order to formulate an argument. So essentially, your topic is your starting place. From there, you'll develop an engaging research question. So merely presenting a topic in the form of a question does not transform it into a good research question. So to demonstrate this, let's go through a few examples. So we've all heard this question before. Why did the chicken cross the road? Unfortunately, this question is too broad, and it doesn't define the segments of analysis. Specifically, the question doesn't address which chicken or which road it crossed. So in formulating those research questions, you might think, okay, let's make a more specific question, which is a good thought process. So here's the next try of developing a research question. So how many chickens crossed Broad Street in Durham, North Carolina on February 6, 2016? Unfortunately, this question could be answered by a quick internet search. It could be answered in one question, and it really doesn't leave room for analysis. It does, however, it could become data for a larger argument. So let's look at a third attempt at a research question. What are some of the environmental factors that occurred in Durham, North Carolina between January and February 2016 that would cause chickens to cross Broad Street? So this is a more precise question, and the question can lead the author to taking a stand on which factors are significant and allow the writer to argue to what degree the results are beneficial. After you've written and rewritten many different iterations of your research question, here is a checklist for you to go through to help identify the quality of your research question. So first off, is the question easily and fully researchable? Second, what type of information do I need to answer the research question? So for example, to answer the research question, what impact has deregulation had on commercial airline safety, will require certain types of information. Those are possibly statistics on airline crashes before and after, statistics on other safety problems before and after, information about maintenance practices before and after, and information about government safety requirements before and after. The third question, is the scope of this information reasonable? So for example, can I really research 30 online writing programs developed over a span of 10 years? That's a pretty big undertaking. Fourth, given the type and scope of the information that I need, is my question too broad or too narrow or just right? Fifth, what sources will be able to provide the information I need to answer my research question, such as journals, books, the internet, government documents, people? The last question, can I access those sources? So do I have the ability to get that information? The final question after going through the checklist, so given my answers to the above questions, do I have a good quality research question that I actually will be able to answer by doing research? So it's usually at this point that I hear students say, Dr. Gibson, I've developed my research question. Now what do I do? So here are my recommendations. Now that you've carefully crafted your research question, you're going to need to conduct a literature search and systematically create your literature review. So in order to help you with that process, I've created another PowerPoint presentation that goes into great detail on how to conduct a literature search, write the literature review, and help organize that information. Your research proposal for this course, so the subject of your research proposal, is presented in the form of a scenario. You may want to consider reading that assignment first and then watching the presentation on literature reviews. Just my recommendation, that way you can formulate some ideas in your mind as you're watching that presentation.